Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, your leg seized by a sudden, painful cramp that just won't let go? It's a frustrating experience many seniors know all too well. I've been there myself, those sharp jolts waking me from a peaceful sleep, leaving me restless and worried about my muscle health. It's one of those quiet struggles that doesn't get talked about much, but it affects so many of us as we age. The good news is, you don't have to accept these cramps as an inevitable part of getting older. There's a simple, natural way to ease this discomfort that doesn't involve complicated treatments or expensive supplements. Over time, I discovered that what we eat every day can make a huge difference in how our muscles feel and function. It's empowering to know that small changes in your diet can bring big relief. In this video, I'm going to share 3 everyday foods that can help prevent those nighttime leg cramps and boost your muscle strength. Foods that are easy to find and easy to add to your daily meals. These aren't just random tips. They're backed by science and trusted by seniors who want to stay strong, active, and pain-free. You deserve to enjoy your days and nights without the fear of muscle cramps holding you back. So, let's explore these simple but powerful nutrition secrets together. And I'd love to hear, have you tried any foods or remedies that helped ease your cramps? Share your experience below, because your story might just help someone else, too. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. Now, let's begin. 1. Eggs. Protein, vitamin D, vitamin B12 benefits for muscle and nerve health. When I think back to my childhood kitchen, I remember the familiar sound of eggs sizzling in a pan, the comforting aroma of breakfast drifting through the house, promising the start of another day. As a child, I never once thought of those humble eggs as anything more than a simple, hearty meal. But now, after years of experience and reflection, I've come to see eggs in a whole new light, especially as I've grown older and paid more attention to what my body needs to stay healthy and strong. It's funny how certain foods are so woven into our lives that we hardly notice them. Yet, sometimes the most ordinary foods hold the greatest secrets to good health, especially as we age and our bodies begin to ask more from us. For many of us over 65, the conversation around food often turns serious. How to maintain strength, how to keep our independence, how to stay pain-free as the years pass by. And it's in this context that the egg, so simple and familiar, steps up as a true nutritional powerhouse. I'll be honest, when I first started struggling with muscle cramps and stiffness in my legs, I didn't immediately connect the dots to what I was eating. Those late-night cramps, the kind that strike out of nowhere and leave you clutching your calf or thigh, used to rob me of sleep and peace of mind. I tried stretching, I tried warm baths. I even took to sleeping with a pillow under my knees. But the relief never lasted long, and the frustration grew. It wasn't until I began to look into nutrition, and in particular, the role of certain foods in muscle and nerve health, that I realized I'd been overlooking one of the simplest remedies available: the egg. Let's take a moment to appreciate just what the egg brings to our tables. First and foremost, eggs are one of the most complete sources of protein you can find. Each large egg contains about 6 grams of high-quality protein, meaning it holds all 9 of the essential amino acids our bodies need but can't produce on their own. For seniors, this is more than just a nutritional detail, it's a lifeline. As we age, we lose muscle mass more quickly, a process known as sarcopenia. This muscle loss doesn't just make us feel weaker, it can sap our energy, make us more prone to falls, and yes, leave us at greater risk for those dreaded leg cramps. Protein is essential for building and repairing muscle tissue. When you're young, your body bounces back from strain and injury almost without you noticing. But as the years add up, recovery slows. Muscles need more support, and protein becomes crucial. Yet, many older adults, whether from loss of appetite, dental issues, or simply the hassle of preparing big meals, don't get enough. Eggs are easy to eat, easy to prepare, and easy to digest. A blessing when your stomach isn't what it used to be or when chewing a steak just doesn't sound appealing anymore. It wasn't just the protein that made me rethink eggs. I started reading about the importance of vitamin D, especially for those of us living in areas where long winters and cloudy days keep us indoors. I never paid much attention to my vitamin D levels before. After all, why think about the sunshine vitamin when you're spending most of your time inside? Yet, vitamin D plays a critical role in how our bodies absorb calcium and, in turn, how our muscles contract. Without enough vitamin D, our muscles don't function as they should. Weakness creeps in, cramps become more common, and sometimes even chronic pain develops. The research is clear. Seniors with low vitamin D are much more likely to suffer from severe leg cramps. Eggs, it turns out, are one of the rare natural food sources of vitamin D, thanks to the yolk. One large egg provides about 40 IU of vitamin D, a modest amount, but every bit counts when you're trying to reach the recommended 800 to 1000 IU per day for seniors. I started making eggs a regular part of my breakfast routine, sometimes pairing them with a glass of fortified milk or yogurt to get a bit more vitamin D into my system. I also tried to get outside for a few minutes each day, even if just to sit on the porch with my coffee. The difference, over time, was noticeable. My legs felt stronger, my cramps less frequent, and my mood, somehow, just a little brighter. Of course, not all of us can count on sunlight. Mobility issues, cold weather, medications, and even certain medical conditions can limit our ability to soak up the sun and produce vitamin D naturally. That's why eggs, and a thoughtful, well-rounded diet, can be such powerful allies as we age. For some, supplements may still be needed, but I found that making mindful choices at the table was both satisfying and effective. Then there's vitamin B12, another unsung hero in the world of senior nutrition. B12 is essential for healthy nerves, and as it turns out, it's closely linked to the experience of muscle cramps and spasms. Low B12 can cause all kinds of unpleasant symptoms: tingling, numbness, weakness, and yes, those misfired muscle signals that leave us feeling like our bodies aren't quite under our control. As we get older, our stomachs produce less acid, making it harder to absorb B12 from food. Many common medications, like those for diabetes or acid reflux, can make the problem worse. The result? More frequent cramps, sometimes even nerve damage or anemia. What's remarkable is that eggs provide a senior-friendly, easy-to-digest source of vitamin B12. Unlike red meat, eggs are lower in fat and easier on the stomach. Unlike supplements, you don't have to worry about taking them at a certain time or with certain foods. They fit seamlessly into almost any meal. For vegetarians who eat dairy but not meat, eggs become an even more important way to keep B12 levels up without compromising other dietary choices. I remember a conversation I had at the community center one morning, waiting for my exercise class to start. A friend confided in me that she was always tired, her legs aching by the end of the day, her nights interrupted by sudden cramps. "I take my vitamins," she said, "but I still feel off." When I asked her about her diet, she shrugged. "I don't eat much breakfast, just toast and coffee." I suggested she try adding an egg or two a few times a week. 2 months later, she pulled me aside, beaming. "I'm not saying I'm running marathons," she joked, "but I'm sleeping better, and those awful cramps are mostly gone." Science backs up these stories. Studies show that seniors who regularly eat eggs, in moderation, have better muscle mass, fewer deficiencies in crucial vitamins, and often enjoy a greater sense of well-being. And here's the good news: you don't have to eat a dozen eggs a week to feel the benefits. For most healthy seniors, 6 to 7 eggs per week is perfectly safe and does not raise cholesterol to dangerous levels. Replacing processed meats at breakfast with eggs can be a heart-healthy move, especially for those with a family history of heart disease. Of course, as with anything, moderation and personalization are key. If you have kidney disease, you may need to limit protein and should talk to your doctor before making dietary changes. If you're concerned about cholesterol, try using more egg whites and fewer yolks, Or pair your eggs with high-fiber foods like whole grain toast or sautéed spinach to help balance your meal. Diabetics can benefit from pairing eggs with fiber-rich vegetables for better blood sugar control. The beauty of eggs is their versatility. They fit nearly any meal plan and can be adapted to suit individual needs. One thing I love about eggs is how they can be woven into the rhythm of daily life. Scrambled, boiled, poached, or even baked into a comforting casserole, they're the definition of comfort food. I've spent many Sunday mornings in my daughter's kitchen, teaching my grandchildren how to make Grandma's special omelet, full of spinach, tomatoes, and a sprinkle of cheese. The laughter, the simple act of cracking eggs together, brings a kind of nourishment that goes beyond the plate. Food, after all, is not just about nutrition. It's about connection, about passing down traditions, about sharing stories and love. It's worth mentioning, too, that eggs are an affordable option, especially for those on a fixed income. They last well in the refrigerator, don't require complicated preparation, and can turn a humble meal into something satisfying and nourishing. I know many seniors who struggle with the rising costs of food. Finding something as nutritious and accessible as eggs can make all the difference. For anyone worried about safety, the recommendations are straightforward. Always cook eggs thoroughly to avoid any risk of foodborne illness, and store them properly in the fridge. For those who want to limit fat or calories, poaching or boiling eggs is a wonderful alternative to frying. And for an extra boost, eggs can be combined with other nutrient-dense foods, think spinach, mushrooms, or a dollop of Greek yogurt, for a breakfast or lunch that will keep you satisfied and energized for hours. What I find most encouraging is how these small changes add up. At first, it seemed almost too simple. Add more eggs to my meals and see what happens. But over the weeks and months, I noticed my legs didn't ache as much after my daily walks. I felt steadier on my feet climbing the stairs. Those nighttime cramps became a rare occurrence, rather than a regular visitor. My doctor even commented on my improved lab results at my yearly checkup, pointing out that my B12 and vitamin D levels were right where they should be. The science, my own experience, and the stories I've heard from friends all point to one clear truth. Eggs are an unsung hero in the fight against muscle cramps, weakness, and the creeping loss of independence that can so easily steal joy from our golden years. They are more than a breakfast staple. They are a source of resilience, a reminder that small changes in what we choose to eat each day can help us hold on to strength, mobility, and the simple pleasures of living life on our terms. As I look out my window now, watching the sunlight slant across the yard, I'm grateful for all the lessons these years have brought. I've learned that the answers to many of our health challenges aren't always hidden in complicated treatments or expensive pills, but in the wisdom of everyday choices. Eggs, unassuming, affordable, familiar, have given me more than just nutrition. They've given me confidence, comfort, and a renewed sense of possibility. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. For anyone reading this and wondering if something as simple as an egg could make a difference, I say this: don't underestimate the power of small changes. Give it a try. Make eggs a regular part of your week. Pair them with foods that nourish you, share a meal with someone you love, and notice the difference not just in your body, but in your spirit as well. We spend so much of our lives worrying about decline, about what we stand to lose with each passing year. But with every forkful, every mindful meal, we reclaim a bit of that lost ground. We remind ourselves that it's never too late to care for our bodies, to nurture our muscles and nerves, to choose strength and comfort. And for me, and perhaps for you too, that journey begins with something as humble as the egg. 2. Bananas. Potassium, magnesium, vitamin B6 for muscle contraction and nerve function. When my grandson Jake was 5, he used to call bananas nature's smile. He loved the cheerful curve, the sunny color, the way the peel opened like a little gift box he could manage all by himself. Back then, I only saw bananas as an easy snack to tuck into a lunchbox. These days, now that I am well past 70 and far more mindful about how every bite affects my muscles and nerves, I look at that humble fruit with a deeper gratitude. Bananas are so woven into American life that we forget how extraordinary they truly are, especially for older bodies craving dependable, gentle nourishment. Potassium is the star nutrient most of us associate with bananas, yet its importance becomes crystal clear only when a painful leg cramp jolts you awake at 2 a.m. That sharp spasm, twisting your calf into a knot, is often your body's desperate message that your electrolyte balance has tipped too far. Potassium works hand in hand with sodium to spark each muscle contraction and then help the muscle relax again. When potassium drops, even just a little, those electrical signals misfire, and the result is that nighttime Charlie horse we all dread. One medium banana hands you about 420 milligrams of potassium, roughly 12% of the daily target. It is not the whole answer, but it is a generous, delicious step in the right direction. I remember one winter when the cramps hit me hard. I chalked them up to the cold, to not moving enough, to normal aging. My doctor ordered a simple blood test. The verdict: mild hypokalemia, lower than ideal potassium. You don't need fancy supplements, she said. Just eat a banana every day, add some leafy greens, drink more water, keep it steady. I did exactly that. Within 2 weeks, the nightly spasms eased, and within a month, they were mostly gone. The fix felt almost too easy, but that is the quiet power of potassium. You often see results swiftly once you top up the tank. Magnesium, the unsung sibling in the banana's mineral family, adds another layer of relief. Magnesium calms excitable nerves, opens blood vessels, and ushers calcium and potassium into the right places. Actions that collectively permit muscles to contract smoothly and then unwind without drama. Many seniors, especially women, fall short on magnesium because their appetites shrink or certain medications rob the body of this mineral. Each banana supplies about 32 milligrams. Modest on paper, yet beautifully bioavailable. Think of it as the gentle background melody that keeps your muscle orchestra in tune. A close friend of mine, Evelyn, discovered the value of magnesium the hard way. She had battled restless legs for years, twitching and kicking through the night like she was running an invisible marathon. Prescription pills left her groggy. One afternoon, we attended a nutrition talk at the senior center. The speaker mentioned that magnesium deficiency can masquerade as restless leg syndrome. Evelyn raised an eyebrow, went home, and began her experiment. One banana mid-morning, another sliced onto oatmeal a few evenings a week, plus a handful of almonds here and there. I didn't expect miracles, she told me later, but after a month I realized my legs had been quiet for days. It felt like I'd been granted extra hours of sleep. That kind of gentle turnaround carries profound value when you're in your golden years and every peaceful night counts. Then there is vitamin B6, a nutrient rarely discussed at doctor visits unless anemia pops up on a lab report. Yet B6 is vital for nerve signaling and red blood cell production. Ask any mechanic. Without smooth wiring and fresh fuel, an engine sputters. Our bodies are no different. Vitamin B6 helps create neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine, chemicals that convey instructions from nerve to muscle. When B6 runs low, those instructions garble. Muscles misinterpret the message. Cramps, tingling, or general fatigue follow. A single banana delivers about 0.4 milligrams of B6, nearly 1/3 of what older adults require daily. Better still, this B6 arrives wrapped in soluble fiber and natural sugars that release energy steadily rather than sending blood glucose on a roller coaster ride. I learned about the B6 connection while leafing through a pile of research articles my niece, a dietitian, left on my kitchen table. One study from 2018 tracked seniors who experienced frequent leg cramps and measured their vitamin B6 intake. Those consuming less than half the recommended amount had significantly more cramps than their peers who met the quota. The scientists proposed that insufficient B6 disrupted nerve conduction and inflamed muscle tissue, making cramps more likely and more painful. Reading that study felt like shining a flashlight into a dark corner. Suddenly, The small acts of choosing a banana over a cookie or adding chickpeas to a salad made perfect sense. Still, numbers and nutrients only matter if they translate into daily habits. So, how do we weave bananas naturally into a senior lifestyle? Many of us keep odd eating schedules. Years of shift work, caregiving, medications, and doctor appointments scatter meal times. Luckily, bananas are forgiving. No peeling onions, no simmering pots, no chewing tough meat. You can grab a banana in the dark at 3 a.m. or slice one over toast whenever hunger whispers. I like mine with a spoonful of peanut butter for extra protein and healthy fat. My neighbor Ella freezes overripe bananas and blends them with Greek yogurt to craft a creamy, nice cream that satisfies her sweet tooth without the sugar crash. A retired Marine down the road swears by his post-walk ritual: half a banana with a pinch of sea salt and a small glass of coconut water. Recharges the battery, he says, grinning. Portion size matters, too. For most older adults, 1 banana a day is plenty. If cramps are frequent, 2 can help, but diabetics or those watching carbohydrates should pair the fruit with fiber or protein. Think walnuts, chia seeds, or a slice of whole grain bread to blunt any quick sugar spike. We seniors have earned the right to treat ourselves, yet managing blood sugar is another pillar of muscle health. Roller coaster glucose can sap energy, cause inflammation, and impair nerve function. Balance is the steady friend we seek. Hydration often hides in the leg cramp puzzle, and bananas assist here as well. They provide water. Yes, fruit is mostly water, along with natural electrolytes. I find that eating a banana and sipping a tall glass of plain water or herbal tea mid-afternoon works wonders. The combination replenishes fluids, potassium, and magnesium in one fell swoop, preventing that late-day slump when legs feel leaden and spirits droop. Let's not forget the emotional nourishment tucked inside this sunny fruit. Bananas evoke warmth, childhood memories, and tropical vacations, gentle reminders that life still holds sweetness. When arthritis flares or the news cycle overwhelms, I make a banana cinnamon smoothie, close my eyes, and inhale vanilla and spice. In that moment, I am not defined by aches or medications. I am simply alive, tasting sunshine. Cooking with bananas can be an act of creativity even for those whose hands tremble or whose eyesight dims. Here are a few simple ideas. Morning warm-up. Mash half a banana into oatmeal during the final minute of cooking, then sprinkle pumpkin seeds on top. You get potassium, magnesium, B6, fiber, and healthy fats in one comforting bowl. Savory surprise. Slice a barely ripe banana, firmer, less sweet, into a black bean salad. A dash of lime and cilantro bridges the flavors, while the banana's creaminess balances the bean's earthiness. Bedtime soother. Blend a small banana with warmed, unsweetened almond milk and a sprinkle of nutmeg. The natural sugars encourage serotonin production. Magnesium eases tense muscles. The warmth settles a restless mind. Each of these mini rituals transforms nutrient intake into a sensory experience, reinforcing consistency. Consistency is truly the secret sauce. Potassium and magnesium work best when levels stay steady. Skipping 3 days and then downing 2 bananas at once won't fend off cramps. Think of your muscles as grateful house guests. They prefer small, regular meals served on time. You may wonder whether bananas can overdo it. Can too much potassium be harmful? In healthy seniors with well-functioning kidneys, the body regulates potassium efficiently. Issues arise mainly for those with advanced kidney disease or on certain medications like potassium-sparing diuretics. If your doctor has flagged kidney function or electrolyte concerns, discuss fruit servings openly. For most of us, however, a daily banana is a safe, smart choice. I sometimes meet people who dismiss bananas as just sugar or too high in carbs. But context matters. A banana is worlds apart from a frosted donut. It gives you fiber, antioxidants, water, resistant starch that feeds friendly gut bacteria, and those trio minerals, potassium, magnesium, and B6, working in harmony. Whole foods carry symphonies of compounds we may never fully map, each supporting the next like musicians in a jazz band riffing off one another. You can't bottle that synergy. The scientific community continues to uncover subtle benefits. Bananas contain dopamine and catechins, plant compounds that reduce oxidative stress. They supply prebiotic fibers that nourish the gut microbiome, which in turn influences inflammation and nerve health. They even deliver small amounts of tryptophan, the amino acid your brain converts to serotonin, nudging mood upward. When we talk about aging gracefully, these layered benefits form a cushion, softening the everyday impacts of wear and tear. I recall an afternoon at the farmer's market when a young vendor offered me a tasting of different banana varietals. Tiny ladyfingers, sturdy plantains, red-skinned beauties with faint raspberry notes. I realized then that bananas can be as diverse as apples or grapes, each cultivar offering a slightly different nutrient profile and flavor. Exploring new varieties can rekindle culinary curiosity, the spark that keeps us eager to cook rather than defaulting to processed convenience foods. Of course, life sometimes throws curveballs, a hospitalization, dental procedure, a bout of the flu, that disrupt the best habit. During one such spell, I lost my appetite and my potassium dipped again. A kind nurse brought me a banana sliced thin over applesauce, easy to swallow, gentle on the stomach. The next day, I felt steadier, reminded once more of the fruit's quiet reliability. Recovery hinges on tiny mercies like that. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Community 2 flourishes around simple foods. My church hosts a monthly breakfast where volunteers cart in crates of bananas alongside scrambled eggs, yogurt, and oatmeal. We peel, we chat, we exchange recipes. Someone always jokes that bananas are the duct tape of breakfast. They fix everything. Yet beneath the laughter lies a deeper truth. Food shared is healing amplified. When you tell a friend, bananas eased my cramps, you pass along hope disguised as fruit. For those who struggle with arthritis in the hands, gadgets like a banana slicer or even snipping the peel with scissors can make preparation easier. Small adaptations keep independence intact. And because bananas require no refrigeration when fresh, they suit seniors living in RVs, tiny homes, or anywhere fridge space is precious. Display them in a bright ceramic bowl on the counter. They'll ripen gracefully, signaling when sweetness peaks. If they brown faster than you can eat them, freeze chunks for smoothies or bake them into wholesome banana oat muffins to share with neighbors. Now and then, I meet someone still haunted by the outdated bananas are fattening myth. Here's the plain math. One medium banana contains about 105 calories. That's roughly the same as a slice of whole grain bread but loaded with the minerals we've been celebrating. Compared with a candy bar or bag of chips, it is a bargain for both waistline and wallet. And because bananas are satiating, they help curb the urge to nibble on less nourishing snacks later. Perhaps the most beautiful lesson bananas teach is humility. They don't strut like exotic superfoods imported from halfway across the globe. They sit quietly in the produce aisle, affordable, familiar, steadfast. Yet in that humility lies strength, the kind of dependable, practical strength many of us prize as we age. We've weathered our share of fads and miracle cures. What we hunger for now is simplicity that works. So tomorrow morning, before the day's noise begins, treat yourself to nature's smile. Peel back that cheerful yellow skin, notice the faint vanilla scent, feel the gentle give of the fruit between your fingers. As you take the first bite, know that you are blessing your muscles with potassium to fire clean signals, your nerves with magnesium to steady their chatter, and your blood with vitamin B6 to ferry oxygen and energy where they're needed most. With each chew, imagine those nutrients traveling through veins and tissues, quieting cramps before they start, easing stiffness, restoring grace to every step. And when night falls, picture those same minerals standing guard while you sleep, buffering each little twitch that tries to steal your rest. There is comfort in that image. Comfort in knowing a simple fruit can help secure a peaceful night and a stronger tomorrow. If you have a moment, think back to your own earliest memory of bananas. Maybe it was a lunchbox treat wrapped in wax paper, or a banana split shared on a summer boardwalk, or the first solid food your grandbaby grasped with chubby fingers. Those memories remind us that food is a story, history, and continuity. By choosing bananas with intention now, we weave new chapters of resilience into the tapestry of our lives. And if this gentle fruit has already helped you conquer cramps or boost energy, share your tale with someone else. Post it in a community newsletter, mention it at your next doctor visit, or simply pass it on across the garden fence. Each story plants a seed of hope. As for me, I will keep a bright bunch hanging by the kitchen window, where morning sun paints soft gold across the peel. In that light, I see possibility. Stronger muscles for tomorrow's walk, steadier nerves for the grandkids' weekend visit, deeper sleep as the seasons turn. All from one unassuming banana, offered by nature, embraced by choice. Because we, too, deserve to live cramp-free and full of vitality. We deserve to savor every sunrise without fear of that sudden nighttime jolt. We deserve to reach for small, delicious solutions that honor our bodies and our memories. And sometimes, all it takes is peeling back a bit of yellow and letting nature's smile work its quiet magic. 3. Nuts and seeds. Magnesium, potassium, healthy fats for muscle relaxation and circulation. If you open my kitchen cupboard today, you'll see a line of glass jars, each filled with something small, humble, and, if you listen to enough doctors and grandmothers, miraculous. Almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, pistachios, and even a jar of flaxseed I once bought on a whim, are now a permanent fixture in my breakfast routine. These simple foods, so easy to overlook, have quietly become my trusted companions as the years slip by and my muscles ask for a little more care than they used to. I wasn't always so mindful about nuts and seeds. There was a time when I'd pass right by them in the grocery store, dismissing them as snacks for health nuts or treats to sprinkle over fancy cakes. My younger self hardly gave a thought to what those little kernels contained. But somewhere along the way, maybe it was after the 100th time a cramp twisted my calf at night, or when my doctor gently suggested my blood pressure numbers were climbing higher than they should, I began to look for answers in the foods I ate every day. It turns out, nuts and seeds are tiny packages packed with everything an aging body needs to stay supple, strong, and cramp-free. I started small, as most good habits do. A handful of roasted almonds with my afternoon tea. A scattering of pumpkin seeds on my oatmeal. Some days, when I felt fancy, a spoonful of nut butter on apple slices. Little by little, my body thanked me in ways both subtle and profound. Let's start with magnesium, the mineral so many of us don't realize we're missing until symptoms sneak up. Muscle cramps, twitchy legs, fatigue that just won't lift, and a sense that your body isn't recovering as quickly as it once did. Magnesium is often called nature's relaxer. It soothes excitable nerves, calms tight muscles, and, as I learned the hard way, is crucial for preventing those stubborn nighttime leg cramps that can leave you pacing the living room at 2 in the morning. When I asked my doctor what I could do about my recurring cramps, she gave me the usual advice: drink more water, stretch before bed. But then she paused. "Do you eat many nuts or seeds?" she asked. I admitted I hadn't given them much thought. She smiled. "Try a small handful every day. Pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, pick what you like. It might surprise you how much difference it makes." So I tried. I added a jar of pumpkin seeds to my grocery cart, not expecting much. The first week, I noticed only a small change, but after a month, the results were unmistakable. Fewer cramps, a bit more energy, and less of that worn-out feeling in my legs. I later discovered that just 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds contains about 168 milligrams of magnesium, nearly half the recommended daily intake for an older adult. Almonds and cashews offer generous helpings too. This is real food, not a chalky pill. It's delicious, simple, and as natural as you can get. Magnesium is just one piece of the puzzle. Potassium, the mineral that gets so much attention in bananas, is also abundant in many nuts and seeds, especially pistachios, almonds, and cashews. Potassium keeps your muscles contracting and relaxing smoothly, helps nerves transmit signals, and even regulates blood pressure. When I started adding more potassium-rich foods to my meals, I noticed fewer jumpy legs and a calmer, more even energy throughout the day. One winter, after a bout of illness left me weaker than usual, I made it a habit to eat a handful of pistachios with my afternoon tea. Pistachios are loaded with potassium, about 290 milligrams in a 1-ounce serving, almost as much as a small banana. They were a simple comfort as I rebuilt my strength. Each nut was a tiny reminder that recovery, like aging itself, comes one step, one choice, one meal at a time. Then there are the healthy fats, the kind our brains and hearts love, the kind that make every cell membrane in our bodies supple and strong. When you're younger, it's easy to think of fat as the enemy, something to avoid at all costs. But now we know that certain fats, especially those found in walnuts, flax seeds, and almonds, are essential for maintaining flexible arteries, supporting brain function, and reducing inflammation throughout the body. Walnuts, for instance, are one of the best plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which help soothe inflammation and support blood flow. When I started adding a few walnuts to my morning oatmeal, my joints felt less creaky, my skin a little softer, and over time, my blood pressure edged down into a healthier range. Flax seeds, with their gentle nutty taste, can be sprinkled over yogurt or blended into a smoothie for an extra dose of fiber and those same healing fats. I even keep a little jar of chia seeds on hand for those days when digestion needs a nudge, another benefit of these unassuming seeds. But there's more to nuts and seeds than just magnesium, potassium, and fat. They're also rich in protein, vitamin E, antioxidants, and fiber. All nutrients that work in harmony to keep our muscles functioning, our nerves firing, and our bodies resilient against the slow creep of age. When I think about the aches and pains I've managed to avoid or reduce over the years, I am convinced that these foods are part of the reason. Of course, it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Like many seniors, I've learned the hard way that moderation is everything. Nuts and seeds are calorie-dense, and it's easy to overdo it if you're not careful. I remember one week, feeling particularly virtuous, I started munching on almonds every time I passed through the kitchen. By the weekend, I'd gone through half a bag, and my waistband was a little tighter than I liked. Lesson learned, a small handful, about 1 ounce or 20 almonds, is enough to get the benefits without piling on extra pounds. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Salted and candied nuts are another temptation. In my youth, I loved those honey-roasted peanuts from the corner store. Now I read labels carefully and opt for unsalted, dry-roasted, or raw nuts whenever possible. Too much salt can cancel out the blood pressure benefits, and added sugars don't do our aging bodies any favors. It's a simple change, but one that's made a noticeable difference in how I feel. For those who worry about dental issues, cracking an almond with a sensitive tooth can be risky. Nut butters and seed butters are a godsend. A spoonful of almond or sunflower seed butter on whole grain toast, a drizzle of tahini in a salad dressing, or a scoop of peanut butter in a smoothie, all provide the same nourishing minerals and healthy fats, in a form that's easy to chew and digest. Sharing these foods with others has become a kind of ritual in my circle of friends. On Tuesday mornings, we gather at the local park for a gentle walk, each of us bringing something to share. Sometimes it's a batch of homemade trail mix, sometimes a tin of energy bites made with oats, seeds, and a touch of honey. There's always a bit of good-natured debate about which nut is best, walnuts for the brain, pistachios for the heart, pumpkin seeds for sleep. But we all agree that these little foods help us move through the world with less pain and more pleasure. If you're new to nuts and seeds, I'd suggest starting simply. Keep a jar of mixed nuts on the kitchen counter, and make it a habit to reach for a small handful as an afternoon snack. Sprinkle pumpkin or sunflower seeds over soups and salads for a pleasant crunch. If you like baking, try swapping out half the flour in a muffin recipe for ground almonds or flaxseed meal. It adds richness and nutrition without any extra effort. A typical day for me might look like this. Breakfast: oatmeal topped with sliced banana, walnuts, and a sprinkling of flaxseed. Lunch: a salad with leafy greens, cherry tomatoes, grilled chicken, and a shower of pumpkin seeds. Snack: a small handful of raw almonds or cashews with herbal tea. Dinner: roasted vegetables with a tahini drizzle, or a piece of whole grain toast with almond butter for dessert. It's not fancy, but it's satisfying, and it gives my body the steady supply of magnesium, potassium, healthy fats, and plant-based protein it needs. What I love most is how these foods support not just my body, but my sense of agency. Growing older can sometimes feel like a slow surrender. One more pill, one more ache, one more thing I can't do as easily as before. But when I choose what I eat and see the results, steadier legs, calmer muscles, better circulation, I feel a quiet pride. I am not helpless in the face of time. I am an active participant in my well-being, even if that participation is as simple as cracking a walnut or spreading sunflower butter on toast. Science backs this up. Numerous studies confirm that older adults who consume nuts and seeds regularly have better cardiovascular health, lower inflammation, stronger muscles, and less risk of certain chronic diseases. Even the USDA's dietary guidelines encourage a daily serving for people of all ages, with special attention for older adults seeking to prevent muscle loss, frailty, and cramping. The benefits ripple out to every part of life. Improved circulation means warmer hands and feet in winter, quicker recovery after a walk or garden session, and less of that unsettling dizziness when standing up too fast. Healthy fats nourish the brain, supporting memory, focus, and even mood. I've noticed that on days when I skip my morning walnuts, my thinking feels a little less sharp, my energy a bit flatter. It's as though my whole self moves with more ease when I give my body these building blocks. There are practical tips, too, for getting the most from your nuts and seeds. Store them in airtight containers, away from light and heat, to preserve freshness. Buy in bulk to save money, but keep only a week's worth in a handy jar and freeze the rest. If digestion is an issue, soak nuts or seeds in water overnight or choose roasted varieties. This can make them easier to digest and absorb. For those with allergies, all is not lost. Seeds such as pumpkin, sunflower, and chia are generally well tolerated and offer many of the same benefits as tree nuts. And if you can't tolerate any nuts or seeds, focusing on other magnesium and potassium-rich foods like leafy greens and beans can still make a world of difference. Sometimes I marvel at how something so tiny can hold so much potential. My grandmother used to say, "Good things come in small packages," and nowhere is that more true than with nuts and seeds. They are nature's original multivitamin, neatly packaged, portable, and waiting to be enjoyed. As I approach my 8th decade, I find comfort in these little rituals. Each handful of nuts is an act of self-kindness, a promise to my body that I will care for it, honor its needs, and savor its strengths. I still get the occasional cramp, but they're less fierce, less frequent, and easier to soothe. My circulation has improved, my muscles recover faster after gardening or walking, and my mind feels sharper, clearer, more alive. If you're reading this and wondering whether such a small change can really matter, I encourage you to try. Start with one nut, one seed, one thoughtful snack a day. Notice how your body responds. Maybe not overnight, but over weeks and months. Listen to your muscles, your nerves, your heart. Let these simple, powerful foods remind you that aging is not just about what we lose, but about what we gain when we pay attention. We are the sum of our choices, large and small. In every almond, every walnut, every tiny pumpkin seed, there is hope, strength, and renewal. And in the sharing of these foods, with friends, with family, with the world, we find the true joy of growing older. Not in fear, but in possibility. So here's to nuts and seeds, and to the everyday miracles they offer. May they keep your muscles relaxed, your blood flowing, your nerves humming, and your spirit light. May each bite be a celebration of resilience, a quiet act of love, and a reminder that the smallest things can have the biggest impact. One handful, one day, one beautiful life at a time. As we come to the end of this journey exploring the foods that can help ease those stubborn leg cramps and strengthen your muscles, I want you to take a moment to feel proud. You've learned about simple, natural ways to care for your body. Choices that don't require complicated routines or expensive supplements, just the power of everyday nutrition. Eggs, bananas, nuts, and seeds, each one a small but mighty gift from nature, ready to support your muscles and nerves, calm your cramps, and keep you moving with grace. I know firsthand how frustrating it can be to face those nighttime cramps and aches that disrupt your sleep and steal your peace. But remember, you're not alone, and there's hope. By embracing these foods, you're giving yourself the best chance to enjoy stronger muscles, better circulation, and more restful nights. It's about reclaiming your comfort and independence, day by day. If you found this information helpful, I invite you to share your experiences or questions in the comments below. What foods have made a difference in your life? Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs. And if this video resonated with you, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more health tips tailored for seniors, and share it with friends and family who could benefit. You deserve to live free from cramps and full of vitality. Here's to your health, your strength, and many more joyful, pain-free days ahead.